Beverly Hills Cop 3 has us once again following wisecracking detective Axel Foley, who's investigating a car theft ring that reveals itself to be much more than that as he once again flies back to sunny LA to investigate. Pop Tot, Beverly Hills Cop 3 was your choice. What did you think of the film? Before getting into the review, how about supporting this disabled, broken, but extremely handsome, sometimes smart Tot and smashing that subscribe button as well as that like button? A good amount of you aren't subscribed. If you love reviews of guilty pleasure, bad, or sometimes just forgotten films, hit that subscribe button. Help us reach our 500 subscriber goal by the end of summer. All right, enough babbling, back to the review.
As you know, the new Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F, is coming out on Netflix.
What are you doing?
I'm getting us some backup.
God, I missed you, Axel.
Three was, obviously, everybody knows, it was kind of a bomb.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot!
It was made 7 years after the second one, and it had so many different script rewrites. It had a director change. You could tell Eddie Murphy, his heart wasn't really into it, and I think there was on-set fights between him and John Landis at one point. It's still lighthearted, but I think that was the problem. Is originally written as the first and second one is more of an action with some light heart to it. This came off more of a comedy.
To pay back Ellis Duval everything we owe him with interest.
Eddie Murphy apparently was going through a rough time. He had went through a couple of box office bombs and didn't really want to do this. He got brought on to do it, and then he didn't like that it was full-on comedy. He thought Axel Foley should have been more grown up and more mature, and he wasn't.
Control Southern California.
And I think that kind of shows. I mean, Eddie Murphy's incredibly talented.
Yeah, but tell me something, what's the charge?
Possession of a concealed weapon and disturbing the peace.
Disturbing the piece I got thrown out of a window. What's the fucking charge for getting pushed out of a moving car, huh?
And he's so charming, but there definitely feels like there's a little missing from him, a little juice missing.
I'll be watching.
Well, just observe how I don't have to use SWAT and trust me on this one, okay?
Plot of this movie is horrible.
In the first two movies, you have his captain, which was Inspector Todd. Todd gets killed by a bunch of people at the beginning of the movie in a shootout at a garage where they're stripping cars, and you're introduced to the main bad guy. The van that they take off in is traced to Beverly Hills or Wonder World, which is kind of like Disney World, I guess. Yeah. It was actually shot in a Six Flags, from what I understand. Billy, if you remember Billy and Taggart, Billy is now some sort of department director or deputy director, and
I'm DDO JSIOC.
The JG JoJo C.
They couldn't get Taggart back because the actor had a scheduling conflict, so they brought in the wonderful and charming Hector Elizondo to play kind of the haggard, getting ready to retire guy.
What is it?
You got a $50 bill?
I got a wife and 3 kids. I haven't seen a 50 in 12 years.
It had some funny parts in it, but it was a little weird and outlandish. I kept finding a lot of things like, this had to do with counterfeiting.
Paper, U.S. Mint quality. That's what was in that hijacked truck back in Detroit. You wanted to follow the truck back to L.A. so you could track the wall and find out where his fucking print shop is. Well, it's right here in Wonder World.
But at one point, when they're showing the counterfeiting operation, they're printing out $1 bills.
Yeah. And it's like, that seems kind of inefficient.
I don't need anybody's money. It's nice.
You're using $50 paper.
Yeah.
And then like that, they switched to Wonder World dollars to kind of hide when Axel...
Be in on this shit. Is that what it is? You supply the equipment, he supplies the paper, right? Look, they changed the visual matrix from the real money to this shit the minute that I left, and as soon as we leave, they'll put it back.
Suddenly, Axel can rework Photoshop on a computer and make his
in
face.
1994 Photoshop. Yeah. The movie, it had all these script issues, and you could tell the first scene, the opening scene, just kind of starts. Like, I'm all for movies placing you in the moment, but it just kind of goes, and you're like, I have no idea what's going on.
Everybody's ready here, okay, right? Nobody needs to take a nervous piss or nothing, right?
All of it is so amateur. The way it's directed and shot, the opening action scene, majority of it doesn't have any background music. You don't get that wonderful Axel F theme.
Like a fucking machine gun.
It does come in later, but Harold Faltermeyer, who did the music, he didn't return to do this. And they do use it, but it's not genius. It's not new. And a lot of the movie, there's just scenes that happen that feel like it was cut in.
Sly come in and brought 14. Zaza Gabor has one. Ava has one.
We gotta go. Thanks, sir. Thanks.
And they don't really fit well.
The Annihilator 2000 with the microwave and the CD chart changer.
Yeah.
That was an awkward scene because when he finally gets to use it at Wonderworld, there's two guys and they seem to not, they're waiting for him to operate.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, the bad guys
cannot hit
a
single thing. There's so many times when he's not in cover and they cannot hit him.
At one time he was in the middle of the tracks in one of the rides, and I think it was they used the famous earthquake ride at Universal. And he's in the middle of the tracks getting a gun off of a dead body, and the guy shoots at him and he hits all the track.
Everything around him.
Not one time hits him, and I was like, wow, these guys are worse than Stormtroopers.
Yeah, it's the same thing when he has the Annihilator, and it's this funny, supposed to be funny joke, but it doesn't work. And he's hiding behind this park bench. They're shooting this park bench. It's made of like titanium, immense steel, because it's not hitting him.
Right.
And he's doing all this stuff, and it's supposed to be funny, but it's not working.
Keep shining on Oklahoma, Minnesota, Arkansas, and Georgia.
And John Landis, the famous John Landis who directed this, thought Eddie Murphy would basically take this movie and propel it more, and Eddie just wasn't feeling it, and I think it kind of comes off, and so the jokes they pushed in the movie just do not work. It falls very flat.
Yeah.
A lot of it, like I said, it just feels very amateur in the way it's edited and cut. Then a lot of the action scenes kind of feel dull too. I don't.
Well, there's nothing at stake.
No.
The paper don't mean jack shit.
No.
And not until the end. They all get wounded. Billy and Hector Elizondo's character, Axel, all get wounded at the park at the end. And that was a little weird to me as Billy comes in and Billy just is all shot up.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like he's going to die any minute. He falls over into, the fog. Hector Elizondo and Axel F., they start laughing. And I was like,
We're dying.
Yeah, he might be dead. It's a lot of blood.
I think he might be dead.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be funny, but it didn't really work that way. And yeah, I guess that was Eddie Murphy's problem with the movie years later, is he said that there was nothing at stake. And I mean, they kind of removed it because his captain did die in the beginning. But again, that whole scene, it fell so flat. And Eddie, he's a pretty good actor. He's proven it.
He's a good drama actor.
He's a good dramatic actor. And that scene, it fell so flat. Especially.
Hey, boss. Hey, man. Hey! Shut!
Jim! Call 911! Jim! Jim! How could you have done this? Jim!
Especially, the connection that him and Inspector Todd
they had 3 movies together, and it was just
Yeah, it was, there was a nice little charming scene between him and now the Todd's widow, and I thought that was kind of nice and sweet.
Actually, his last words were, Axel, are you on a coffee break? Go and get that son of a bitch. Those were his last words.
But again, there was no emotional connection for me.
No.
Where was Paul Reiser's character during all this? Paul Reiser's character is kind of funny. I like his. I know he's going to be in the new movie, so I was excited about that.
Yeah, I guess that was Eddie's issue, was no consequences, and there was no Taggart, and then not having Paul Reiser was kind of a big thing. And because Eddie's one of those guys. He's so good at quick wit, rolling off people.
This is great now. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Axel, you got a cigarette? Did you write that one?
When he has those kind of actors or people that are really kind of straight men, it works even better. And he just didn't have it, and he was like, I don't. It looked like he just didn't want to carry the weight.
Landis is the type of director who changes stuff a lot. When he rewrites something, he always has a new idea, and he always has a new, fresh slant at something.
I don't blame him, but yeah, the plot, the bad guy is just, he's so that time period of bad guy. He's not very interesting, and he constantly makes the quip about being a former cop and how Axel keeps making the same mistakes, but then he does the bad guy speech like 3 times.
So you were carrying around the evidence in your pocket the whole time, huh, Sherlock? Not quite, Oren. We kill you both.
It's like, dude, just kill him. What are you doing?
So I raced over here as fast as I could to try and stop you, but...
Yeah, especially when he shot Uncle Dave.
Yeah.
Forget it. You take a look at the gun, you'll see it's yours. Give me.
And then he was able to overcome that and overpower him after he shot Uncle Dave, the bad guy that is. Axel Foley is a Detroit cop and witnessed this guy physically shoot his inspector, his captain.
And nobody believed him.
That you saw your killer in a man who bore a slight resemblance.
Hell, we run into this all the time in police work, Axel.
And nobody believes him. And it's like, no, you're an eyewitness to a crime as a police officer.
Yep. And it's even said a few times that, oh, he's such a great detective and all that. And it's like, Axel's problem is just basically not following instructions, but he's proven several times to being a good cop.
So I think the issue should be my blatant disregard for proper procedure.
You damn right, wise ass.
What are you doing, dude? This is the 3rd movie. Like, why don't you believe him? I mean, the movie was torn apart on Rotten Tomatoes critically and all that. Its budget overinflated to $70 million. Like 30% of it was Eddie Murphy's contract. It didn't do well, and kind of snuffed out the franchise for 30 years, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yes! It's great to see someone come into an iconic role and 7 years later, and you had high hopes, and then you go into it and you're like, yeah, this thing's
is dead.
Like, I can't really remember any of the Lethal Weapons being bad.
No, even Lethal Weapon 4, I think that one gets the most crap, and it's probably my favorite one, honestly.
The one with Jet Li, right?
Yeah, I love that one. There's components of this that work, but almost from the get-go, it just feels like something's wrong. And so I'm kind of glad that they are returning to try to address it and make some jokes in the new trailer. And I have to be honest, as anti-Hollywood as I've become, I actually kind of excited to see the new one. Curious to see what they do.
You're in a snowplow?
Yeah, we're in a damn snowplow. What's the problem?
As usual on Lost and Found, we rate things by lost, you leave it to the streaming nether realm and completely forget about it, or found, you go and seek it out. Physical, streaming, your aunt's VHS player. Pop Tot, where are we putting Beverly Hills Cop 3?
I'd bury it. I'd watch 1 and 2, and just kind of sink your teeth into that. If you want to kind of rekindle before you watch the new one on Netflix, watch 1 and 2 and just kind of forget 3 happened like Eddie did.
Especially if you're watching all 3 together, the drop in quality is going to punch you in the face. It's a disaster, and it shows that it just probably shouldn't have been made. A lot of it feels amateur, and then you like, wait a minute, John Landis did this. How does this feel so amateur in the way it's dealt with? I don't know.
At least George Lucas had a cameo.
I was just like, why is George Lucas in this? He just appeared.
Wait, what?
I didn't understand, because I was like, holy shit. That's George Lucas. That was threw me off. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what the new one is like. So yeah, who knows? But as usual, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. It helps with the engagement so much. I can't stress it enough. Leave us a nice comment. You can tell us we suck, whatever. It all helps. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about Beverly Hills Cop 3. Are you excited for Axel F? Maybe not, whatever. Let us know, and we'll see you guys on the next one.